Greetings and welcome back to the channel. It's LtBuzzLitebeer, and the last 36 hours have been hands down some of the most insane I have ever seen. We've got what is possibly the biggest leak in video game history from Microsoft, and more specifically, how it all relates to Bethesda. We've also got another milestone just reached by Starfield, and some interesting figures and stats related to this one. And then we've got a little bit of damage control from Phil Spencer after yesterday's Bombshell. Today is going to be a wild ride, and I'll do my best to keep it clear, quick, and concise. Thanks again for all the awesome levels of support you've continued to show my Starfield uploads. In case you haven't yet done so, please hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. Likes, comments, shares are greatly appreciated. Chapters are always available for a smooth and easy viewing experience, and here we go. Of course, you knew we had to kick this one off with the Bombshell. Microsoft documents leak new Bethesda games, including an Oblivion remaster. And this all came about after Microsoft allegedly uploaded and provided a link to the entirety of these documents to the court as exhibits for their ongoing FTC case. And by providing an unredacted document link and allowing the court to post them, again, allegedly, Microsoft seems to have leaked their very own documents. Wow, just wow. I don't know what is going on over at Microsoft, but I would guess the press and public relations departments over at Microsoft HQ are looking something a bit like this. And this series of documents was essentially Microsoft's playbook for the future. Laid out for the FTC, they've got the new Xbox Series X and S, which are basically mid-gen refreshes, codenamed Elwood and Brooklyn, which include some power-saving features and will notably nix the disk drives, turning them 100% digital. It also shows off the new Xbox controller, codenamed Sabile, clad in this Stormtrooper-esque cover and making use of haptic feedback. So you're not only going to hear the game, you can feel it in the palm of your hands. Now, there is far more here, but I am simplifying it down greatly because to run through it all would take an hour plus. Anyways, here's one of the really interesting bits about all of this, and it is the Zenimax management forecast graph. And for those of you who don't know, Zenimax is the parent company for Bethesda. So the chart says Zenimax, but we're basically looking at what was at the time the future release schedule for the entirety of Bethesda. And I say at the time because this was an internal Microsoft presentation graph, probably when they were discussing on acquiring Zenimax and, of course, Bethesda. And this looks like Zenimax's proposed release schedule, so taking into account everything they had in the pipeline, along with the years they were eyeing for release. So in 2020, you've got Doom Eternal, ESO Greymoor, Fallout Wastelanders, Fallout Shelter Online, which was a mobile game released strictly in Asian markets. And yeah, all of this basically released on time, with Deathloop coming out the following year in 2021. Then in 2021, Starfield is sitting top dead center of the list, so it was originally planned to drop 2 years ago. And just looking at how relatively easy the Starfield launch went, I guess we have to look towards Microsoft, who once they purchased Zenimax gave Bethesda more time to work out most of the kinks. Then you've got Project Hibiki, which is Hi-Fi Rush, originally slated to drop in 2021, but eventually launched this year, so 2 years later in 2023. There's also Ghostwire Tokyo, a game I have not yet played, slated for 2021, launched in early 2022, and then God Almighty Redfall, on the schedule for 2021. Could you imagine an even less polished, less immersive, less everything Redfall? Because I can't, but here it was originally set to go live a full 2 years prior to when it actually did. Fiscal year 2022 is when things really start to get interesting. You've got Indiana Jones, the much anticipated Oblivion remaster, and of course, Starfield DLC. Now, we've already seen Todd Howard respond to questions about the potential timeline for the Indiana Jones game release with, we'll talk next year. So he's alluding to sometime in 2024. 2 years after Zenimax has it penciled into release. The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion remake story broke earlier this year that Virtuous Games was busy on this one using a pairing system, so it incorporated the Oblivion engine to handle gameplay and physics, but then utilized Unreal Engine 5 to handle the graphics and renders. So pretty cool tech overall, but here on Zenimax's graph, the Oblivion remaster should have arrived a year ago, so not everything here can be taken as gospel. And then, of course, we've got the Starfield DLC, which we already knew about, Shattered Space, showing up in fiscal year 2022, but in reality will probably arrive early in 2024. So, with Indiana Jones pushed to 2024 and Starfield DLC coming out as well, will we truly be looking at the Oblivion remaster arriving next year as well? Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comment section below. And Zenimax doesn't seem to take their foot off of the accelerator for fiscal year 2023, at least according to their original release plans, with a new Doom game and 2 Codename projects, Kestrel and Platinum. Now, Kestrel was already leaked just a bit from a previous GeForce Now leak as a new MMO, and Platinum could be tied to Indiana Jones or possibly just something from Machine Games, maybe Wolfenstein, because we haven't seen much from that IP in a while, and this has all, of course, been pushed back a bit, so more than likely 2025. Fiscal year 2024 gets downright zany with the Elder Scrolls VI, which I'm pretty sure the entire gaming world is salivating for. No definitive word from Phil Spencer if it will be available on all platforms. And then you've got an expansion for Project Kestrel, that new MMO IP, a licensed IP, very cryptic. Fallout 3 Remaster, love seeing that one, Ghostwire Tokyo sequel, Dishonored 3, and a Doom DLC and ESO expansion. Wow, first thoughts here is that this would have been a banger lineup of releases. Bethesda fans would have had some really good eating for 2024, especially with Elder Scrolls VI, but also with Dishonored 3, Doom, and how about a Fallout 3 remaster thrown in there as well? That's a truly all-star lineup of titles, but of course, we need to take this with a grain of salt because this was an internal document from nearly 3 years ago, and it wouldn't be accurate to just look at the list and say, well, hey, Starfield is an example. It originally was slated for 2021, came out in 2023, so that means Elder Scrolls VI is here, listed at 2024, add on 2 years, so it is definitely coming in 2026. Also, take a look at the revenue projections based on each title. Elder Scrolls VI, $1 billion, and Starfield, not too shabby, projected at $900 million. Now, in terms of leaks and gaming as a whole, we've never seen the likes of this, where a major player stumbles this much and basically gives over their entire financial forecast, all their R&D. I mean, it's the whole smash just thrown out there to the public. And as expected, Phil Spencer was not too pleased about all of this, issuing a statement to Microsoft employees. Quote, "Team, today several documents submitted in the court proceedings related to our proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard were unintentionally disclosed." He reiterates that as the documents are well over a year old, Microsoft's plans have, quote, "evolved. I also know that we all take the confidentiality of our plans and our partners' information very seriously. This leak obviously is not us living up to those expectations. We will learn from what happened and be better going forward. We all put incredible amounts of passion and energy into our work, and this is never how we want that hard work to be shared with the community. Teasing that announcements will come soon," Spencer reiterated. "There's so much more to be excited about, and when we're ready, we'll share the real plans with our players." Now, Spencer concluded by asking Team Xbox to stay focused in the days and weeks ahead while still enjoying the success of Starfield. He also said we should look forward to the release of Forza Motorsport and continue to build games, services, and devices that millions of players can enjoy. Overall, there's not much that can be done about this now. I mean, Microsoft allegedly uploaded the unredacted documents for this FTC filing on their own, so they can't blame anyone but themselves for this disaster. But you know what is not a disaster for Microsoft and Xbox? Starfield, who dropped this major announcement just yesterday. thanks to an astronomical 10 million Starfield players. And it was just about 2 weeks ago when they announced that the game had passed 6 million players. So Starfield continues to gain traction with the greater gaming community. Now, IGN is reporting that it is currently sitting at the 27th place all-time on SteamDB, sitting just ahead of Skyrim and still just a bit behind Fallout 4, which is in the 16th place overall. Now, European launch numbers are currently placing Starfield ahead of Final Fantasy XVI and Resident Evil 4, placing it 5th in the fastest-selling games of the year list. But, as IGN points out, the Game Pass effect makes it hard to make accurate like-for-like comparisons with previous Bethesda games. So, yeah, a leak for the ages with this one. You've got Zenimax's playbook out in the public, Fallout remasters, Oblivion remasters, Elder Scrolls VI, and by the way, I just noticed no official second or third DLCs or expansions showing up anywhere for Starfield, but I'm sure that's going to change just based on those sales numbers. Make sure to leave me some feedback about anything I discussed in today's upload. Remember to hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. Likes, comments, shares are greatly appreciated. All my socials can be found in the video description below. Shout out to the now over 165,000 of you that have stuck with me and hit subscribe. And a special thanks goes out to my patrons and to those of you firing over those lovely YouTube super chats. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.